In this video, I'm going to be taking this AGFRC budget-oriented drift gyro, and I'm going to be putting it in my drift car, giving it a full test, programming it with its USB programmer, all to see how does this small little gyro work in a rear-wheel drive drift car. Welcome folks, my name is Troy, this is Roadside RC. On this channel you'll tend to find me doing bashing and crawling, plus drifting and racing, plus product review videos and how-tos. And today I have this AGFRC gyro, super small, itty-bitty little gyro, 19 kg, designed for drifting and comes in at a very, very reasonable cost, especially when you consider that included is the Servo programmer that you can plug into your laptop and then program the different features of the gyro. So I'm very curious. We're going to get this into my drift car. We're going to drive it. I'm going to be testing this gyro in my Sakura D5. This is the S model with the rear motor. I've been running this RWD servo. Highly recommend the RWD unit. Very professional grade. You can get the programmer with it. I have a whole separate video that I'll leave you down in the comments below of where I installed and tested and set up the full parameters of the RWD servo. Really like it, really recommend it. That's going to be our baseline today with this AGFRC. So all I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to remove this servo, get this one installed so that we can give it a test. One of the things I'm curious about with these two servos is I'm kind of curious how heavy they are compared to a standard servo. So let's just start. This is standard plastic, ready to run. It's actually a ready servo. I believe it came out of my Element Ecto. 60 grams right there. You can see 60 grams for a plastic case, 20 kg, 25-ish kind of kg. This is one of the Zusuke servos, ones that you'll commonly find on Amazon for pretty cheap. 68. So that metal case and making sure you have all those metal gears in there gives you a little bit extra weight at 68 grams. Here is the RWD 48. So just going from a full size down to this shorty in there, that did lose 20 grams up in the front of the car, which is a really good thing. But this bad boy is so small, so I'm curious. 56. What? So somehow this is actually noticeably heavier than the RWD, and I don't know why. I mean, it's certainly not due to size. It is that couple millimeters shorter than the RWD. There must be something in there. They did something. There's a little bit of weight in there somewhere. So all of that just to say, if you're like me and you're looking for every ounce, every gram off of your drift car, especially in the front of the car, RWD is just that little bit lighter weight for you. All right, look at this. We are officially set up. And we have steering. I will say first response is steering seems plenty fast for anything that you're going to need. It is very silent. It's not like one of those older Savox servos where you can hear it whining all the time. It is not that. I have noticed a little bit, sometimes you notice that. So it's going to be hard to see, especially with the fisheye lens, but if I come over, it's almost like it's too weak to fully center while not running. But if I wiggle it, it's more than capable of coming back. Some of that might not be the servo itself, some of that might be, I have the Futaba gyro in the slow return mode. So you can see, like if I come over, you can see it comes back slow. One of the things I really like about that gyro, it might be that interface there, that it's not fully returning, but it appears it is working just fine. So this is, as it sets, I have not plugged this controller in at all to even see what the programming values are. And just like that, we're going to give it a test. We're going to see how it drives. First test run, honestly, it feels pretty dang good. I think there's going to be just a couple small tweaks that we want to do to it in order to make it feel better. What I now have is I have the programmer plugged into the laptop. I have gone to the AGFRC website, and when you look at the programmer here, it has a link to where you can go to their download center and you can actually download the software. I have now got the AGFRC, the programming software, downloaded, installed. Here it is, simply plugging that servo directly into the computer. And then this is the issue that I now get, is it just says, you probably can't read this, but it says adapters plugged in, adapters removed, adapters plugged in, adapters removed. And I have the LED on it just flashing, not working whatsoever. So, somewhat disappointing. I was really hoping to fix a couple things with this. It tells you in here that you can fix the travel range, the servo neutral position, so you can actually center the servo without having to trim on your controller, which is great. It has a damping factor. It has a couple other things, sensitivity and all these things. All these are nice, all these are good, but all those are actually a pretty big gap compared to the fine-tuning that you can really do with that RWD servo. As I've driven this AGFRC servo, honestly it does really good. I'm happy with it. It is a fraction of the price of the RWD. But what I want you to do now is I want you to come over here, because in order to really make this decision, you need to know more about the RWD servo and the programming that it has. And so I have a whole video that I'm going to link right over here to the side that has all the details and information about when I installed and programmed, and I went through every programming step of that RWD servo. That way you can really compare and contrast both of these. AGFRC servo is a good budget alternative to the RWD, but it's still not, it still doesn't have all the features. So go check it out and see which one makes more sense for you. That video is right over here. Please come over here and check it out. If you want a direct link for this AGFRC servo, that is going to be down in the description. Thank you for your support, and we will see you in the next video. Goodbye.